This is the Ramana Maharshi Satsang, a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself and be always free and at peace. Welcome. I'm Richard Clarke. I'm not a guru or a teacher. Ramana's teaching is deep, and I want to share it. I'll read and comment on the Ashtavakra Gita, chapter 12, verses 1 through 4. In these verses, abiding in the self now, Janaka said, become, becoming first intolerant of action, then of excessive speech, then of thought itself. I come to be here. Neither sounds nor other sense perceptions attract my attention. Even the self is unperceived. The mind is free, undistracted, one-pointed, and here I am. Effort is required to concentrate a distracted mind superimposed with illusion. Knowing this, I remain here. Nothing to reject, nothing to accept, no joy, no sorrow. Lord God, I am here. Now let's explore these verses. 12:1. Becoming first intolerant of action, then of excessive speech, then of thought itself. I come to be here. Now, Janaka speaks of his experience, abiding in the self. The first verse points to the natural progression of spiritual detachment. It begins with a letting go of the need to act, followed by releasing the desire to speak excessively, and ultimately disregarding even the activity of thought. The culmination is a state of being fully present, free from the compulsion to engage outwardly. You are invited to see the value in quieting the mind and recognizing that your true nature is already here and now, not found by any doing or thinking. This verse guides you towards deeper stillness. The letting go of action, speech, and thought is not about rejecting life, but is about turning inward to rest in the self. In silence, you come to know and realize the ever-present nature of awareness of the self. Janaka teaches you that your essence is beyond these distractions, drawing you into the peaceful presence that is always here. 12:2. Neither sounds nor other sense perceptions attract my attention. Even the self is unperceived. The mind is free, undistracted, one-pointed, and here I am. This verse describes a state where external stimuli no longer captures your attention, and even the self is not grasped as an object. The mind becomes focused, undisturbed by distractions, and settles in a place of stillness. You are no longer chasing experiences either through the senses or even through seeking the self. Instead, you rest in a unified, quiet awareness, simply being. This verse offers profound insight into spiritual liberation. When your attention is no longer pulled outward by the senses or even by the concepts of the self, the mind becomes naturally quiet. In this quiet, you experience the fullness of being without effort or striving. This deep state of presence is the essence of meditation and spiritual realization. 12.3 Effort is required to concentrate a distracted mind superimposed with illusion. Knowing this, I remain here. This verse speaks of the effort needed to manage a mind caught up in illusion and distraction. Yet, once the nature of this effort is seen, there is a natural resting in the present. You no longer strive to control the mind, but recognize the illusion and allow it to pass. This leads to an effortless abiding in the present without force or struggle. This is Sahaja Samadhi. Sahaja is a Sanskrit term that can be translated as natural or innate. For Ramana Maharshi, Sahaja refers to the state of effortless, continuous self-awareness. For your practice, this verse emphasizes a critical point. Effort is only required when you're caught in illusion. When you recognize that distraction and illusion are temporary, you can simply let go of them and remain present. Janaka encourages you to trust your ability to rest in the self, knowing that distractions will fall away on their own. 12.4 Nothing to reject, nothing to accept, no joy, no sorrow. Lord God, I am here. This verse points to the freedom found in pure being. There's no need to reject anything or to cling to any experience. Joy and sorrow are known as passing states, and the self remains always still and unmoved. You are not defined by transient emotions, but exist as the witnessing presence, free and untouched by external circumstances. In this recognition, you come to know the divine presence within yourself and the timeless truth of being here, now. This verse invites you into a profound sense of equanimity. By not accepting or rejecting experiences, you can live in complete freedom, unaffected by the ups and downs of life. This state of pure presence is where you encounter the divine essence of the self. Janaka invites you to experience the peace that comes when you stop identifying with the mind's constant judgments. The verses in this section encourage you to let go of attachment to action, speech, thought, and sensory distractions, guiding you to rest in the present moment. They highlight the natural state of being, free from effort and duality, where the self is realized as untouched by joy, sorrow, or illusion. This is Sahaja Samadhi. So know yourself and be always free and at peace. And now a video from Nome, Sahaja, Stithi, total peace and stillness.
Sri Bhagavan speaks of self-realization as Sahaja Stithi, which means abidance in, or as that which is natural, that which is innate, calling self-realization the natural state. If it is innate, if it is truly natural, then it is indeed what you are. What is it that is natural? What is it that is innate? Certainly, certainly that which appears and disappears, which has birth and death, or coming and going, cannot be innate. For what is innate is ever existent. What is this natural state? It cannot be anything bodily, for the body is not always. What is natural or innate is always the case for you and is continuous. That is, what is innate must be your very existence. What then is your existence? It should not be defined in terms of the body or attributes of the body, such as a sense perceiver or a performer of activity. What is innate? Or what is your very existence? As no thought is changeless and continuous, your existence must be other than thought. And the natural state must be mind transcendent, just as it is transcendent of the body. The very idea of I comes and goes. It cannot be innate. For what is innate is continuous and immutable. Existence itself is evidently innate. And it is not possible to separate yourself from it, though the illusion of an ego is just such imagination. That which exists, that which is existence itself, is the reality. While that which was previously described as discontinuous and changeful is actually entirely unreal. The reality is evidently the innate. If it is the reality, if it is your existence, what is the significance of abidance, Stithi? Abidance or establishment as that. There are not two selves, two existences, that one could be or not be another. Abidance is knowledge, self-knowledge, which is neither a sense perception nor a mental conception. Such knowledge is of the very nature of being. For the knowledge to be eternal, and thus truly of a liberating nature, or realization as we call it, it must be ever existent. It must be innate. So this is not knowledge in the sense that one knows something. This is non-objective knowledge, in which the self that is known and the self that knows and the knowing itself are all identical. How is one to abide in the innate? Since the innate, or knowledge, self-knowledge, is not to be attained anew, the spiritual practice involves the destruction of delusion. Delusion takes the form of misidentification, as with individuality, with the mind, with the body, and everything else that is not actually natural to you. The destruction of misidentification is not the destruction of any real thing, but simply a cessation of imagination. Such is the dissolution of ignorance. The unreal never is. The real always is. The not-self is never yourself, and yourself can never be otherwise. Therefore, to find self-realization and to realize it to be the only existent one, the reality, inquire, who am I? that which is supremely glorious, that which is perfectly blissful, that which is of the nature of existence, consciousness, and happiness, finding which supreme peace ever is. That which is truly God, Brahman itself. That is what you are. That is the innate. Find out who you are.
All right, and now we will meditate and inquire ourselves to find out who we are. You exist. Notice that you exist. You exist, and you know that you exist. So inquire, investigate within yourself. What am I holding on to in daily life that prevents me from fully resting in the present moment? What role does sensory distraction play in preventing my mind from settling into stillness? How can I recognize when my mind is caught in illusion and simply let it pass? How can I let go of the habit of accepting and rejecting and instead remain present in all situations? Who am I? What do I take myself to be? And who am I really? What am I? I am what is the nature of my existence. What actually exists? All right, and now we'll have a chant. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace.
Richard, it's always the perfect satsang.
Yes, I really am enjoying doing this and sharing this with you guys.
It is wonderful. And the invitation to know our real nature and to rest in the real nature.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenges because of our Visaya Vasanas, I'm always wanting to go out.
Right.
Not loving enough to go in. And just to keep going in and slowly, slowly strengthening the Sattvasana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what these satsangs do, Richard. I'm so glad to be with both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, I think uh, today's verses were so good, just inviting us just to be here and don't concern ourselves with all that other stuff that we play with our mind.
Right, right. And Ramana's teaching is it doesn't matter how many thoughts come up, just persevere.
Right,
Just
right,
persevere.
right.
Yeah. It's the most wonderful, wonderful invitation and the only question worth anything. Who am I?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like a related question is still this: what am I? What is real? What actually exists? You know, am I this body? You know, it feels like there's this body there, but you know, who am I? Really,
That's
really?
it. And I think who am I directs us in where
Yes.
everything else directs us out. So the only question, who am I, is the
Mm-hmm.
essential one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So good to be with both of you.
Anyway, it's good to be together in this way. This is sharing what matters the most.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, namaste,
Namaste.
good inquiry, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
And I hope your trip is successful and somehow you can find peace within yourself in the middle of all of that family turmoil.
Absolutely. Thank you,
You
Richard.
know, that's one of the real challenges is to go through that kind of stuff and still be at peace.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
The greatest challenge right there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
In 40 Verses on Reality, Ramana Maharshi explains the nature of the self, the ultimate reality, and self-inquiry. My new book, with my comments and inquiry questions, opens these teachings up and brings them into your practice and experience. Available now from Amazon. Link in the video description. These videos bring Ramana's teachings into your direct experience. Click subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like, and send questions and start a dialogue with a comment